NAACP just made devastating announcement must be stopped by Frank Lee for dailyvine.com. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, just made a shock announcement that had Americans laughing or rolling their eyes. The NAACP has called for gun confiscation from the citizens of the United States of America. It's as if they want people knocking on your doors, taking your weapons, and punishing you, even though you've done no wrong. The NAACP, who is an organization in which only African American people can join, which makes it racist and segregationist, is asking that America participate in an unconstitutional act that would violate everyone's rights to bear arms. This comes from the NAACP president, Derek Johnson, who seems to claim that kids go to school scared and frightened every morning. He makes it so that people think kids are terrorized by the concept of going to school because they believe something will happen. This is clear-cut lies that incite the wrong feeling in people. Kids aren't showing up to school frightened or terrorized. They go to school as resilient as any other American. The kids go on their way, about their day if nothing happened. They're on their phone, they're playing at recess, and they're not fazed by tragedy unless they're victims of one, and even in that sense, they bounce right back. Johnson mentioned Australia and how they bought back 650,000 assault weapons, which isn't even a third of the weaponry that American citizens are armed with, most of which commit no crime. He mentions the change of law, and many Americans already want that. People want mental health checks to be done at the point of purchase, even if the gun buyer has to wait several weeks or months to get their purchase. If that's what has to be done to protect the legal right of the good guys, then so be it. Johnson's information came in the form of an op-ed, and it's a good thing that it was nothing more than an opinion. Everyone has a right. Okay. Excuse me. Conservative Tribune wrote that the NAACP's call for confiscation, the president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, called for gun confiscation by the government and National Gun Registry, like the program implemented in Australia in the 1990s, among other gun control measures. In a Tuesday op-ed, Gun Safety is About Freedom, NAACP head Derek Johnson likened the current anxiety students feel in going to school to face the African American Little Rock Nine when they had to be escorted to class by federal troops in the 1950s as part of the Brown versus Board of Education desegregation ruling. Well, that was a different time, That has nothing, you know what I'm saying? This is totally, no, that's not the same thing. Fear and terror still exist in our children's classrooms because of the National Rifle Association. That's a crock, NRA, and the politicians that support them, wrote Johnson. NAACP had pointed to Australia, a nation whose example the United States should follow. Following the incident in 1996, the Australian Parliament passed legislation banning semi-automatic weapons, requiring a 28-day waiting period for buying firearms and creating a national firearm registry. Yeah, do the crooks do that? Do they register? Do the crooks register? I'm very interested to find that out. So they could ban the assault rifles, but do the crooks follow the assault rifle rule? I don't know. Additionally, Johnson recounted the government bought and destroyed over 500,000 firearms. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, Australia actually bought 650,000 assault weapons. A 2008 study by the University of Melbourne conducted by researchers Wang Sheng Li and Sandy Saudi, found there is little evidence to suggest that the gun buyback program had any significant effect on firearm homicides. Gun expert Dr. John Lott with the Crime Prevention Research Center noted in an op-ed for Fox News that, as was true in the United States of the 90s, homicide rates in Australia had been declining both before and after the country's gun control measures were adopted. Interestingly, the rate of decline in the murder rate actually slowed post-implementation of the legislation. Further, gun ownership increased steadily. In fact, since 1997, gun ownership in Australia grew over 3 times faster than the population, from 2.5 million to 5.8 million guns, he wrote. Here's a chart of American gun ownership and American murder rate. Please explain how more guns inevitably means more murder. Okay, if you caught the last bit, you'd see that Australian gun ownership had grown faster since they collected 650,000 weapons. The study was mentioned also states that Australian murder rate has already been declining before the mass shooting that had been experienced, so there was no possible way to link the 650,000 weapons that were taken as though that had any impact on the lower murder rate. The rate was also going down, so there's no evidence to suggest that confiscation buyback had any actual impact. Remember this, when the good guy gun owners turn in their guns, the crime rate does not go down, because those people weren't committing a crime anyway. Taking weapons from law-abiding citizens does nothing to improve the mental health of a mass shooter. It just places the blame on the wrong people and pushes the Democrat agenda of gun control. And every time they talk about the gun control, sales of guns surge. I mean, I don't even believe that. And then, criminals don't follow the law, so I don't know what this is all about. And it's the Second Amendment in the law. As long as you're not bothering anybody, you're following the laws. Yes, I agree. There should be, like a background check and things, and to check if you're mentally stable, because you don't want to give an idiot one. But, other than that, necessary precautions should be taken, yes. But, again, this is not going to stop any kind of criminal action that, you know what I'm saying, if you just ban guns. So what, the law abiders are going to be without guns and the criminals will have them. I'll guarantee you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.